Edward left the Holy Land in an uneasy truce. Baibars had promised to keep the peace for 10 years, 10 months, and 10 days. Now, with more pressing matters developing back in England, my father could only hope that the Sultan would keep his word. While Edward was away on crusade, building his reputation as an honorable and capable leader, his father Henry died, leaving him the English crown. He returned to an England both stable and eagerly anticipating his arrival. On August the 19th, 1274, the Lord Edward was crowned Edward I of England. Wishing to expand his new kingdom, Edward set his sights west towards Wales, an old enemy that had supported Simon de Montfort during the baronial rebellion. The Welsh prince Llewellyn ap Griffith constantly antagonized the Anglo-Norman marcher lords on the border. Adding insult to injury, he took Simon de Montfort's daughter, Eleanor, as his bride. My father pounced on the already fractured Welsh factions, seeking to conquer them piece by piece. But if there was one thing that the Welsh princes hated more than each other, it was Englishmen imposing their laws on Welsh territory. Llewellyn's brother, Dafydd, joined the fray, and the brothers waged a war of stealth and ambushes, defeating Edward's southern armies under Luc de Tanny and Gilbert de Clare. Seeing that the hardy folk of these mountainous forests and coarse heaths would not bend easily to his will, my father changed tactics. If the Welsh could not be crushed in open battle, they would be brought to heel from a series of impenetrable castles.
Hello, my name is the Thirsty Camel, and welcome to another episode of Age of Empires 2. In this one we'll be running the Longshanks campaign, and we start off with having to defend a couple of castles that are still being constructed. So let's start with just moving our armies and trying to catch up with whatever we need to defend from. Luckily the first castle is quite close, so in general we just have to stroll by and make some haste. Now this should be the site for the first castle. We'll start suffering the first waves of attacks in a couple of seconds, but in general this should be something easy. Let's see what's coming. Now we have the first attack here, just a couple of light cavalry. This should be quite easy to clean off, and we won't really lose any HP on our units.
Build a castle on Welsh soil.
Do charge. So with this the Welsh will start attacking us. I think we'll be suffering a couple more attacks before this castle is done. So now just some long swordmen for no real reason, as we do clear this up quite easily. Now I fear that the same will happen to their skirmishes. Let's just start with clearing this out, and that's the first castle. Now let's head directly to the second one. The castle is still there, so we should clear out those skirmishes without worries. With this, perfect. So their army is down, and now we can just make way to the next one. We still have a couple of seconds before the next attack. Let's hope we don't have any resistance on the way. General, this was quite clear, so there shouldn't be any issues. Now we're at the site of the second castle. Here we will be essentially doing the same. We should be defending a couple of attacks. Okay, so the light cavalry just came in. Let's start with taking them down. That was the first wave down. Perhaps they would achieve better results if they came with everything at the same time. Either way, castle is progressing. And now we have the second wave, long swordsmen and skirmishes at the same time. Once again, this won't really be any issues for our composition at this moment, so no problems. Let's just take everything down, scare them off like we did the first time. Okay, see, we found the third wave. Let's just regroup.
Ready. Battle!
Even if the knights do take a hit or two, should be any issues. Now we just turn back and clear them out. That scorpion is a bit annoying, but we'll take that down quite easily. Like the first time, we'll simply bugger off the moment that the third castle appears. As in this case, the castle will just clear everything out. This one seems to come with a couple of walls around it. That always adds some extra protection.
Guard these masons with your lives, or we shall all be food for the crows before long.
Now let's get that third castle built, and once again, just focus on defending. And there they come. As usual, start with taking down. Now they did attack us with a triple composition army, so step by step the armies are getting a bit better. Still nothing that our men can't handle. Most of the wave has been taken down, just retreating a little in order to pull them back. Now, dealing with the second wave as they decided to try to pincer us. And the third one is coming. So in this case, despite having attacks from all sides, in general we just cleared this out without much problems. Let's just temporarily retreat, get our men back together, and we'll do a new push on them. Now there's no real reasons to pursue this yet, so for now let's just focus on the onager and not wasting too much. The castle can in general clear everything. Now the first thing that we want to do is to make sure that we throw some walls down, just to at least funnel them to the castles. This should make our early game much easier.
Ready.
Now here we have David Upgoof and Llewellyn Upgoof, which we will be hitting soon. In this case, our main objective is to defend the three castles that we have, and we need to either defeat the Welsh army that is up north, or to kill both of their leaders. We'll see what would be the best.
Briton. Yay.
So now that we have our economy rolling, we can start focusing on producing some units. We got our defenses up, so in general this shouldn't be an issue. We should be able of surviving any attacks that they throw us, and with a strong economy we'll be able of actually sustaining large armies. And now that we got our numbers up, I would say that we can start preparing for a small incursion into their territory. Try to see what's ahead of us, as we should take down first a couple of villages just to make the Welsh army a bit weaker. Then we'll continue with the army and with their captains. For now, a couple of knights and longbowmen should get the work done. Not sure what we will face, but let's see. Here we have our first Welsh village. This belongs directly to the army. We have some two-hand swordsmen, a couple of towers and skirmishers. So in general this should be okay. So now that we cleared their men, let's continue with clearing the camp. We still have a couple of annoying skirmishes here and there, but in general I think that we just took everything down. So that should be the first village. This will already help us a little, as at least there's less units trickling in. And now we just finished clearing everything up. As always, they continue being annoying, just creating men after men. On our side, we will continue bolstering our armies now. Here we have the Welsh trying to do a small push on us, directly under a castle, which won't go that well for them. Here we nearly cleared out the little village, and soon we will be able of starting to advance into other places. Hopefully they won't keep throwing man after man after man at us.
Ready, Dick Willen. Yay, yay. Batal!
They keep doing their skirmishes, but to no real avail. Here the martial lords were advancing a bit, and here we also are protected. So in general, let's just build a bit more numbers and we'll start advancing onto them again. Now that we're nearly finished clearing this village, we'll start advancing into the territory to at least explore the map a bit, to get a bit more information about our surroundings and what we will be facing. Now, RC range down, just stables to go, and the first village is cleared. So let's see what we find around here.
Dick Willen. Yes.
There are a couple of rivers dividing the place and some shallows. We'll end up exploring most of it.
Yes.
For now, let's follow this bridge. Our second army is building up quite nicely here. Let's continue getting those knights up, as they are much more resistant. Now around here we should start finding someone soon. If not, we'll simply start expanding into this empty territory. Let's see. Okay, and we've started finding some Welsh army around here. I think we found another village, or at least the entrance to their city. Let's see if we can explore a bit and at least take their numbers down. They have some siege, shouldn't be too much of a worry. If it's not attacking us, it's not really that dangerous. Okay, number of towers, but not that much army. I think I'll just clear everything and come back afterwards. That should be the best practice here. These knights should bring much more firepower than what we currently have, and with some siege behind it, in general we should just go over the cities without having any real issues. Now, return with a much bigger army, we should be able of just taking them on all at a time. They start sending a couple of units our way, let's just clear that up and essentially push through immediately. Even that ram dies in a couple of seconds and whatever is inside too. So now that we have a nice snowball of cavaliers, the rams can just push through and clear everything quite fast. After this, we might simply start pushing their main cities. Both brothers are in the back, protected by these little villages, so we do need to take this down first. For now, at least, overwhelming victory. Let's just steamroll through this, so we can start taking on other cities. Now the buildings keep going down one by one, so there is no problem here. Let's send someone ahead to just see what's there. And we're nearly done with this part.
Ready, Dick Willen. Yay, yay. Yes, yay. Yes.
Let's say possibly we starting going directly into one of their cities. They don't seem to have that much defense set up around here, so in general we should perhaps even clear the Welsh army right here.
Datum. Ready. Fight. Datum. Yes.
Indeed, some overwhelming force never hurts anyone, so with this, we should take down the rest of the Welsh army. Now, with this, we'll just slowly head up north to visit the first of the Griffith brothers. David will be the first one to fall to our swords if he's not too well defended. For now, let's just focus on clearing the rest of the Welsh city, just so their army can't really do anything good against us. This should be an easy clear as they have little to no army, so in general it shouldn't be more than a couple of seconds. They did fall without much resistance, which for us is actually quite nice. So now just a small villager massacre, and we can continue advancing with everything.
Datum. Yay, yes. Ready. Yes. Datum.
So the last buildings are now going down, and I'm curious to see the defenses that David has placed around him. We might find overly protected city or no walls at all. Let's see. Now let's get our armies together and continue advancing. Now that we have everyone grouped up, we'll start with the attack on David. The first step is send the rams forward. Let's see if we can open a hole somewhere in their walls so that we can just walk our army in and do some damage. We'll need to somewhat defend the rams. The cavaliers are quite hardy, so in this case should be too much work. They do have a couple of paladins and a lot of horse archers, but the moment we get a hole in, this should fall easily. Perfect. So now that we have a hole in their walls, let's just advance in and take everything down, see if we can clear this up a bit. Trebuchet is going down, the castle will be next, and most of their men are out. We didn't take that many casualties yet, so in general this was quite a good engagement for us. If everything goes well, this army should be enough to steamroll David's brother also, but first we still need to kill David. Let's just finish clearing out this little town and his fortifications. We do have the rams doing a lot of work, so this shouldn't take more than a couple of seconds. Excellent. The castle has gone down. Now we're just clearing the rest.
I had wanted David alive to make a grim example, but dead seems just as good.
Perfect. So with this, one of the Welsh brothers have gone down. And now we should start moving our armies. Interesting, so we found a couple more of the Welsh army. Quite a few more here to the right. So they might actually have a base in the east. And indeed they do. Let's just make sure to clear the south before proceeding. Just in case. Better kill death ratio, never hurt anyone. Their pathfinding is amazing sometimes. The newbie updates are quite funny occasionally. Most of our army is already moving to the south, so we can start taking on Lewin. Now we should start exploring, see what's the best way to get into Lewin city. There seems to be water around it. I might have to transport into it. Let's just go around and see. There's also a chance that there might be a number of bridges around, but I don't think that is the case here. Indeed, we can't even move through there. We will need indeed to transport into this.
Great too.
Now, as our transport ships start rolling out, we can for the first time start at least exploring Lewin's domain. See if there's anything that we can actually take down already, or if we will also need a couple of rams. Very likely we'll need some rams. Let's just send a couple of transport ships just for that initial scouting, as we might be able of doing some damage to him. So I see his castle, a couple of docks, some towers. Now, are the walls going all the way around? They are indeed, so in this case we'll need to also take care of some rams in order to take the fortifications down. At least for now, let's just see if we scare him a bit to do some damage, but in general those forces will be lost. Let's pull some rams up and prepare for a second attack. Now let's give this a second try. Became a little bit better prepared this time with a couple of rams to actually take the buildings down and to try to take the walls down also. Cavaliers versus what mainly looks like pikemen might not be the best of ideas, but in general we should have the numbers to at least provoke some damage here. And now for the third wave, let's see if this would be enough to take him down. With the gates now destroyed, this should go directly against his castle. They start advancing with the men, we have the boats covering us, so in general their army should now fall. Just in case, we do have a little bit more prepared, but it shouldn't be necessary for now. Still, let's just grab a couple more men, as they are well defended. So now we're doing the last push. The castle is nearly down, but we will need a couple more men. So this should be the fourth round that we go against them. Let's just advance with everything as they keep pushing the pikemen, which are quite annoying. But shouldn't be anything that would take us down. We have our rams and everything pushing in, so in general let's just clear down their army, as the castle is already quite low on HP, so it should fall to this push. After that, Lewin up Gruft will be dead, and with this the two brothers leading the Welsh army will go down. This should break their spirits, giving us essential control of the country. Castle is nearly there. Let's just take down their men so we don't actually lose the rams. It'd be awful to need to come here once again just for this. Now, despite losing our army, this wasn't a sacrifice in vain, as Lewin is coming out to punch our ships, it seems, which should give us more than enough time to actually take him down. That was an odd end to the brother, but with this we did take the army down and their leaders, so essentially another one in the bag. Now with this we have essentially consolidated the Welsh, the Britons and the Scots. And we have another victory. I hope you enjoyed. This was the third campaign map of Edward Longshanks, and it was quite fun, as in this case we did need to defend not only the English, but take down the Welsh. I don't expect to have to fight 5 rounds against Lewin at the end, but still, we prevailed. Hope you liked, and leave a sub if you did.
The Welsh fought valiantly, but they were no match for Edward's wrath. My father's forces outmaneuvered Llewellyn's forces and smashed them at Orwen Bridge. the Welsh prince fell to the lance of a lone rider who knew not the importance of the man whom he had slain. His brother Davith was captured at Nanny's Glen and declared a traitor to the English crown. Edward pitilessly condemned his bold adversary to be drawn and quartered. Wales was now firmly in my father's grip. He bestowed upon me the title of Prince of Wales, which shall be an heirloom of my line henceforth. The network of formidable fortifications that Edward constructed throughout the land shall ensure that the Welsh bow to the English crown for generations to come.